Hi everyone, and welcome back to Living Well and Wild. I'm Alexis, and today we are going to be talking about 5 things that you should keep in mind when setting your goals, resolutions, and intentions for the new year. I don't know about you, but I am super stoked for 2018. And I thought about it and I decided that it's because this is the first time that I've actually dedicated some time to sitting down and creating an action plan for success. Now, it's not that I've never made goals or resolutions before, but they were always very kind of nebulous and vague, which makes it very hard to work on. That brings me to tip number 1, which is be specific. Try to be as specific as possible with your goals. An example of that would be setting a goal to get healthy for the new year, which just is very vague and unspecific, versus setting a goal to maybe work out 30 minutes 3 times a week. That is very specific and measurable. I don't know if you guys have heard the acronym SMART, in terms of setting SMART goals, which can be applied to any type of goal, whether that's in the workplace, whether that's for your health and fitness or self-improvement or any other type of thing. The acronym SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. I can actually give you an example using a specific goal of mine, which was to earn my E rating in fencing. Instead of setting a goal maybe of just being a better fencer or improving my fencing, I set a very specific goal and something that can be measured and tracked. And at the end of the year, I can come back to and say, did I achieve that or not? This is a good example of being specific versus vague. Tip number 2 is to be positive with your goals. A lot of times I'll hear people say things like, I'm never gonna eat chocolate, and I'm never gonna eat fried foods, and I'm not going to be lazy, and I'm not going to sleep in. Those goals all sound very negative. They use words like never and not, won't, and things like that. So if and when possible, try to reframe your goals in a positive way. I will give you a specific example using one of my real life goals. So some of my personal goals include going back to school to get a master's degree, taking a few computer science courses so that I can learn more about web development and app development, and studying a foreign language to become more proficient. Now, I could have framed those goals in a very vague, going back to tip number 1, in a very vague and then negative way by saying I will never be lazy, I won't waste time, and things like that. Instead, I chose to frame all of my goals in a very positive way. So if you've already created your goal list or your resolution or intention list for the year, go back and see if there's any words like never or won't, and see if you can reframe those goals in a more positive way. Tip number 3 is be realistic. I always encourage everyone to dream big, and I truly believe that if you put your mind to it, there is nothing that you cannot achieve. Going back to my fencing goal, I could have said, my goal for this year is to get an A rating, which is the highest possible rating in fencing. Now, I know and understand that for someone of my level, to achieve an A rating in a year would take a lot of work and effort, and probably more than the 2 lessons and 2 open fencing sessions that I can commit to per week. So I decided that, if I get something higher, that's fantastic, but I'm gonna be realistic in that goal and say, okay, I'm gonna shoot for the E rating, and if I have to make a new goal next year to climb the ladder and get something higher, then that's great. Then I have something to look forward to next year. So in looking at your goals, make sure that the goals that you have set for yourself are realistic. It can be tough at the end of the year when you go back to look at your goals to see what you've achieved, only to find out that the goals that you set for yourself might have been a little bit too unrealistic. Number 4 is be prepared. A great question to ask yourself when looking at any one of your goals is, what will I need in order to be successful with this goal? By asking yourself that question, you can come up with a list of things or maybe mini goals that will lead up to that bigger goal. And that will allow you to be prepared to be able to meet that goal and be prepared for success. So for example, if one of your goals is to eat healthier in the new year, or let's be very specific, let's say it's to eat 3 servings of vegetables a day. That's a very great, specific, and measurable goal. If that's your goal, then asking yourself, what will I need to be successful, might include something like, I will need to meal plan every week. I will need to set aside time to meal plan, and I will need to research a list of healthy snacks. So those smaller goals will allow you to be prepared to be successful with that bigger goal. I'll give you a personal example. One of my big professional goals for this year is to create 52 videos for this channel and for you all. So that pretty much equates to 1 video a week. And so I had to ask myself, what is it going to take for me to be successful with that goal? And the thing that I came up with, or 2 things that I came up with, were making a content calendar for each month. So I have each video idea planned out in advance, and also setting aside time to create that content calendar, whether it's on a weekend or building that into my work day. Tip number 5 is to be organized. When I first sat down to start thinking about and planning for my goals and intentions for 2018, I first just brainstormed to get everything out of my head and onto the sheet of paper. Then the next step was to organize them into categories. So I came up with 4 categories for myself, and those are personal, professional, physical, and financial. And then I was able to group all of the goals that I had into each one of those categories. Now you can organize your goals and intentions in any way that works best for you. And whichever way that you are going to consistently be able to come back to is going to be the best way. So whether that's in a journal, a planner, some type of app, a web-based program, or you could go old school and just do a plain notebook and a pen or pencil. So that was my 5 things to keep in mind when creating your goals, resolutions, and intentions for the new year. I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I did create a blog post on the exact method that I use to create and organize my goals, so I will link that in the description box below so you can check it out if you feel so inclined. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you all next week.